Welcome to the Accountability and Hopeful Fridays Friday session.
We are. Yep, we're good. We're on recording.
We're recording? Cool.
Yes.
All right. So we believe in giving back to all members at no cost. So we've had 80 sessions, 115 guest speakers, 413 members landed job, 3,000 plus members in county as of today. And no other organization has a different guest speaker every Friday. So we are different than the rest. And this man is one of the reasons why. So it is my pleasure to introduce today's guest, Justin Thomas. Justin has spent more than 15 years in talent acquisition, leading executive recruiting teams and partnering directly with hiring managers and executive leadership to identify, evaluate, and hire top talent. Unlike many career coaches, Justin isn't just speaking from theory. He's actively involved in the hiring process every day. He sees firsthand what gets candidates noticed, what gets them overlooked, and what ultimately leads to hiring decisions. So I'll share one personal observation before we get started. Justin is my career coach, and watching him demonstrate LinkedIn Recruiter completely changed how I thought about my own LinkedIn strategy, which is why if I have lectured any of you about LinkedIn, I will continue to lecture you about LinkedIn. I realized there were things I assumed mattered that didn't, and things I hadn't been paying attention to that absolutely did. So I walked away from my sessions with Justin completely restructured my approach. And I'm already seeing the difference. And two ladies on this call saw the difference because my phone was ringing off the hook yesterday. One of the things I appreciate the most about Justin's perspective is that he challenges conventional job searching rights. So some of the things that you guys have heard, instead of telling people to simply apply to more jobs or rewrite their resume for the 100th time, he asks a different question. How is the market actually interpreting you? Because if recruiters can't immediately understand who you are, what level you operate at, and the value you bring, you will never get the opportunity to have the conversation, even if you're the right candidate. So today we're going to do things just a little differently. Rather than having a traditional presentation, Justin and I are going to have a bit of a fireside chat while he gives us a live look behind the curtain. You'll see how recruiters actually use LinkedIn Recruiter to search for candidates, what makes someone appear in those searches, and why LinkedIn, your LinkedIn profile, is only one piece of a much bigger picture. We're going to talk about personal branding, positioning, AI, and how professionals can become more visible and more competitive in today's job market. I really encourage you guys to take notes, think about your own LinkedIn presence, and write down your questions as we go. We'll leave plenty of time at the end for Q&A, and I have a feeling you're going to want to ask them. So please join me and give me a warm, accountable, and hopeful Fridays welcome to Justin Thomas.
Justin.
Oh man,
No
thank
pressure,
you so
right?
much, Crystal. Thank you so much, Crystal. Thank you, Danny, Kel, and all the other group leaders and everybody involved. Thank you guys for showing up, and thank you for giving me time to talk to you guys today. I'm very excited. So I echo everything Crystal said. I've worked with a couple of people in this group, helped some people land some jobs, so they probably won't be here today. However, I'm excited to tell you how it is, and please be prepared. I tell you how it is and not how it should be. All right. So with that being said, guys, let's lock it in. Everybody, give me a thumbs up in the chat if you're paying attention. It's all about being engaged. It's one thing to show up, but if you're not engaged, you will leave with nothing. All right. No matter how today has been for you, no matter if it's been a long day, if you've been just kind of discouraged, right now in this moment, we're going to be here, we're going to be present, and we're going to say, I know who I am. I'm great at my job, and the skills I'm going to learn today, I'm going to take it take steps to get my next job. So, Crystal, I'll kick it back over to you and let you lead the way.
Yep. Hang on.
And don't worry, it's just juice in my cup, guys. I just like red cups.
All right, hang on. This happened last week too. And you guys are, oh, there we go. I couldn't move my screen. So that's because I got kicked out before this meeting, so I didn't get a chance. There we go. Okay, here we go. Justin, hold on, let me get my notes. So I want to be ready. Okay. So Justin, you spent 15 years on the recruiting side of the hiring process. So before we jump into some of the demos, What are the biggest misconceptions job seekers have about how hiring really works today?
Biggest misconception is that number one is that recruiters work for you. We don't. Our job is not to figure out who you are, what you want to do. We work for the company. Even if we're a third party, we work for the client. So ambiguity on your resume or your LinkedIn profile is the quickest way to get skipped over. I don't have time to figure out and read between the lines and see if I can give you a chance. I need to see exactly who you are, what you bring to the table, and it needs to match the role that I'm seeking to fill at that time.
So, as a follow-up, what do you wish every job seeker understood before they submitted their next application?
Well, when it comes to applying, what I wish everybody would understand is that, listen, only 5% of hires come from people that apply, okay? So manage your expectations. Even if you are the perfect fit, a lot of times you're not just getting auto rejected by AI. A lot of times recruiters don't even look at the application pile before we find our candidates. We go and seek out our candidates, right? That's why today we're really going to focus on your LinkedIn profile and how to make sure your resume is set up for the targeted roles so that you're searchable and findable. So I wish that you would go. My hope is that you go into each application understanding that, yes, you should apply, but don't get discouraged if you're not hearing back. It's not because you're not good enough. It's just it's so many people applying who shouldn't be applying. If I put up a job right now at 3:53 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, by 8 a.m. tomorrow Eastern Standard Time, I can have 1,500 applications. Out of those 1,500 applications, 10 of them will probably be a decent fit that I would want to call. Right?
10?
So
Not 10%, Justin.
No,
10, like
just
10
10.
fingers.
10.
Wow. Wow.
So because of that, we really focus on sourcing candidates first, right? So still apply. I'm not telling you to not apply because you can get interviews. But if you shift that mindset as to you're going into this probably knowing that you won't hear back, then that helps you. It also helps you to stop applying to 50 roles a week. There's not 50 roles a week that you're a great fit for. You shouldn't be applying to roles that you're not 95, 97% or higher matched to. And the reason being is because even if you make it to the interview, even if you make it to the final round, they're always going to go at that person that has the 3% of things that you're missing. We are in a risk-based hiring season. Hiring managers don't have time to train. We don't have time to take a chance because the cost of a bad hire is too high. Go ahead, Kel.
Oh, no, there was one of our members had a question. I was just pointing up at them. There was a question in the
Yeah,
chat.
I was gonna get to that. So before we pull back the Recruiter on LinkedIn recruiter demo, just as a second follow-up, and then let's get into LinkedIn Recruiter so people can see, because it was the aha moment for me. To be clear, this isn't just any one industry, is it?
No, it's not. Now, the biggest difference here is higher education, okay, and specific government roles, okay, because they operate a little differently. They don't typically use LinkedIn to source. Governments are cheap. They don't want to pay the $14,000 a year per seat for LinkedIn Recruiter. Also, they just are slower because they can be, right? So when you do apply, governments typically have a different way your resume needs to be presented. All right. So it doesn't mean that this won't be helpful, but there is a slight difference. So I do want to call that out for anybody specifically, not government contracting roles. That's different. Like specific federal government jobs, like secret clearance jobs that you're working specifically for the government. So that's the only industries that would be a little bit different here.
Yeah. And I can say from my experience working in government roles, there's rules, civil service rules that apply. And so that is very different. Okay. So let's pull back the curtain on LinkedIn Recruiter. Let's see what show people what you showed me. Broke my heart.
All right. Well, let's see. Let me do I have permission to share the screen here? Let's see. Yep. Okay. Let me know when you guys can share the screen. See the screen.
We can.
We do.
All right. First thing I want to show you guys. All right. And if anybody is on the call who matches this, I mean, no harm. But let me ask this question. How many husbands or how many wives are here and your spot? How many of you guys have had a plumbing issue in the house and then the husband of the house or whoever in the house decided to fix it themselves, right? and then it just got a lot worse, right?
Mhm.
Or anything else, anything in any if it's not plumbing. My point is hire a professional that knows what they're doing so that it doesn't cost you down the line. So there's so many career coaches. It's nothing wrong with people who help you with career progression, but somebody trying to help you find a job, if they've never been a recruiter, it's kind of hard to they may mean well, but they don't know what they're talking about because they don't actually use the tools. Okay. So what I'm going to show you today is first off, before I know so many people get those emails, let me help you optimize your LinkedIn. Let me help you. Let me first show you the analytics, how you can tell if your profile is already optimized for the role you're seeking to land. Okay. Now, all of this information I'm about to show you is only visible to you on your profile. So you come to your profile, and right above the About section, you'll see Analytics. Okay. Forget these first two numbers. You want to go to the far right and click on this Search Appearances. Now, search appearances speaks specifically to the number of LinkedIn recruiter searches you have appeared in within a 7-day period. LinkedIn reports on a 7-day period. It's always listed right here. So right now it's from June 30th to July 6th. It'll update, and it updates like every 11 days. Don't worry about all appearances. You want to worry about search appearances. For whatever reason, the dashboard is broken with this, always says 0% past 7 days. So you need to always write down this number. So this shows you how many LinkedIn recruiter searches you appeared in that 7-day reporting period. And then you should see a drop down box here. Now, sometimes LinkedIn is changing its design. So if you're still legacy design and you don't see the drop down box here, it'll be down here, but it'll say job search details. Okay. You want to select this drop down box and choose the last option, job titles you were found for. Okay. So for me right now, even though I have a high number of searches, this past week, my profile is not optimized, right? If I was looking for a job, nothing is coming up as a recruiter. Now, last two weeks ago, it was all recruiter, executive recruiter, and all of the right things, right? So what I would caution you to do is give it at least 2 or 3 cycles before you make a true observation, okay? Because for me, the reason this is here now is because I'm different. I go back and forth between representing myself as the job father versus an actual talent acquisition person, right? So mines are going to ebb and flow. But for you, what you want to see is whatever title you're going after, you want to see those titles here. If you don't see those titles, your profile is not properly aligned. Okay. Now, job searches. If you have under 5 search appearances, you probably won't see anything populate. And if you don't see anything populate when you look at it first, just start checking back every 2 days, and then LinkedIn will start populating it for you.
And that's when we have to use the LinkedIn titles that they have in the system because of the way it's designed inside of LinkedIn, correct?
Well, correct. Yes, but it should still unless you just have a very weird, not weird, but unique title that you're going after, it should still be the type of title you're looking for. There's always going to be some off title, and I'll show you why in a second, but you need to at least see 1 or 2 titles matching what you're going after. And again, you need to have a target title. You can't go after data analyst and then project manager, right? It's too ambiguous. So before I move on, does everybody understand how to check to see if your profile is already optimized? All right, good to go. Crystal, anything?
Justin, just one quick question, and I kind of popped an answer in the chat, but I wanted you to kind of confirm because I have learned from you. But someone asked if you want to clarify which industries want 100% of basic requirements met versus less than 100%. Their experience says defense contractors want 100% of basic requirements met, but not necessarily other industries. My response was, and this is based on my own anecdotal experience, they all want 100%. They're looking for a unicorn.
So you're absolutely correct. Every hiring manager right now, and guys, I also own a staffing recruiting firm. Okay. So I actively recruit on a daily basis as a headhunter for different companies. Hiring managers and leaders want people closest to 100% as possible. Okay. So whoever has that is going to win unless they're a horrible cultural fit. They want as close as possible. That's across every industry.
And Justin, does everyone need LinkedIn Premium to be able to get to their analytics?
No, you do not. Okay. Now, so I keep talking about LinkedIn Recruiter, LinkedIn search appearances. So what I'm going to show you now is this is LinkedIn Recruiter, okay? This is the back end. This is LinkedIn Recruiter, okay? What I also want to show you is I'm going to do a sample search, like I'm a recruiter, so you guys can see what we actually search for and how it appears. So recruiters, when we first get a role, right? We get the role and we have something called a kickoff meeting with the hiring managers. Like we ask a slew of questions to build the perfect candidate persona, what they actually need, the job description, the interview process, and we do something called talent mapping, right? So that helps us build out what we're going to source. So for this, I'm going to be sourcing for a director of product marketing, human capital management and payroll role for Sage, okay? So I'm going to just use this as my cheat sheet first. I always start out with the title, okay? So you're gonna see me come here, start a new search. What I want you to pay attention as I'm talking is pay attention to the filters we have over here, okay? Now you see just what I put in there, it gave me 6.6 million. So with the first thing we always search by is the title, okay? I'm always gonna go specifically for the title I'm looking for. Now, that dropped it down to 370K. So if I go back to my report, I can go down here, other titles I should look for. Give me a second. There we go, target titles.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And Justin, these are other titles that this role might be, or this person might have, this candidate might have
Correct.
worked on. Okay.
So when we do talent mapping, we get a list of competitors who have employees doing the same thing that the people we're hiring for are doing. And so when we do that research, it pulls all the different titles that different companies have, because you know different companies have different titles, but they're doing the same thing, right? So now I have 400,000 results as a recruiter, and that's just with the title. I'm not going to do anything else yet because that's just still too wide of a net. Here's what I want you to pay attention to, and this is why on your LinkedIn profile, titles are very important, right? So say if you work for a consulting firm and your title is senior consultant, you need to change it to be for specifically what the general market calls it. On your resume, keep it the same, but on LinkedIn, it matters for this reason, as long as you're not lying, okay? What I'm going to do is director of product marketing. I'm going to say that they must have this title and that they must have it as their most recent title on their profile to show up in my search. Boom, went down from 400K to 4,000. You see how quickly it just disappeared if you don't have the titles aligned? Now, 4,000 is decent, so I'm gonna leave it. The other two is optional right now as I go down and do some more. So right now, I'm gonna go and get, oh, excuse me. Jesus, can I move this? Yep, there we go. HCM, all right, HCM payroll. I'm just going to throw in some quick just for the reason of time. So I'm gonna throw some skills in here. HCM, human capital management, payroll. I haven't even put a location in. Now I'm at 116 results. Okay, so we can also filter by location if they have to be hybrid. I can do by companies because you see the companies it gave me for a lot of recruiters. We're going to start with the competitors to the company we're hiring for. Okay, but since my target is already only 116, I'm not even going to diminish it any further. But just know that sometimes that may be why you're not coming up, because you're searching for roles. If you're searching for a role in fintech and you never worked at a fintech company, you're not really going to be that searchable. Okay. And if you have any questions, please just stop me. All right. So
I was going to say something I noticed. So when you typed in payroll, it gets very specific. I saw ADP payroll versus just payroll processing.
yep.
I want to go back with the title again. So with that title, so this is Kim. So if you're changing the title and you're changing, doing a manual title and not what's like, there's only about 4 of them in my area of what I kind of do, and none of them are exactly a good match. So should I be using the LinkedIn title as close as I can, or do I start to modify that? And if I'm modifying that, am I doing it in the work experience section as well as the headliner? Where's the best place, and where you pick your roles? Is that section where you pick 5 different roles? What's the best way to be doing that? I'm concerned about the manual versus the manual changes opposed to the LinkedIn suggestions, or what's in the database.
You should always use the best variation of what's in LinkedIn. But even
Okay.
if you put your manual, it'll still show up, right? It will. So even if they had like consultant and then in parentheses product marketing, it will still show up in my query and my search.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, because the search is looking, I mean, I'm sure it's great when it's the actual title that's in the database and linked to database, but if there's a part of that title possibly that is matching within that, it might be bringing it up on your general search here.
Correct. And then to answer your other question, always put the title that you're seeking to land in your headline.
Yeah.
Always. Okay. Anything else before I keep going?
Nope, that's good.
All right. So
Hey, so this is Kayla. So I do have a question. So the example was if you're not in fintech, but you're looking for fintech, it's not going to come up because that's not how you're searchable. So how do you make yourself searchable if you're looking to jump industries?
So let me rephrase that. It's not that you won't come up, it's that say if I had like 400,000 still, if I do use the companies filter and I search by competitors, in that case, you're not going to show up. Okay. So I haven't hit any companies yet because I already have a small pool. So it really just depends on the recruiter. But yes, it's a very strong chance that you won't show up. And there's nothing you can do because you don't want to lie and say, that you worked for a company that you didn't work for. Okay.
And then if I could add to that, some industries, because I've worked in 2 industries that are very much looking for people that have worked in that industry, entertainment and med tech are very specific and particular about looking for people that have worked in those industries before, because they very much believe that if you've worked in entertainment, then you'll be able to work at another entertainment company and the skills are transferable. Med tech is the same way. They tend to look for, which is why, because I've got so much med tech, I tend to get med tech calls.
And let me add something real quick, Kaylee. So now the way you can get around that is say they may not search by company, but we can search by industry. So what you do on your LinkedIn profile, just add that industry to your profile. At least you'll come up.
Should you add more than 2 or only 1 in your headline, 1 title, or is it recommended possibly 2?
It should only be, are those 2 titles the same thing? Basically doing the same thing?
Yes.
All right. If they're doing the same thing, just list the one that's the most common, right? And then Kayla, you can add industries to your profile without attaching it to a company, okay? So I would just add the industry. That way, if the recruiter searches by industry instead of company, you will still show up.
Is that where it's coming in from, the skills? Because the skills do have industries on there.
No, we have right here at the bottom of the screen, we can search specifically by industries. Or are you asking where is it on the profile side?
Oh, if we're going to put it on our profile side, I know you could have industries that are on skills, and I started taking that off. That was already there. I'm like, I just started taking it off. I'm like, forget it. I'll just take this off.
Put it back there.
Okay. So it's looking at the skills at least one area. It's looking at skills. Okay.
Justin, this is Roz.
Hi, Roz.
Hi. Can you please tell me, what does it mean engaged in job market? Is it because they don't have a green banner?
Nope, I'm about to get to that in a quick second.
Thank you.
All right, so that leads me to this next part, which Roz segued us into. So now that if you pay attention to here, just pay attention to this filter. Now I want you to come over here and pay attention to how you guys appear to us, okay? We see your picture, your name, your headline, your most 3 recent roles. We can always expand and see all of it, but we see your roles and your tenure at each role, okay? So as a recruiter, I can see director of product marketing, he's been there, okay, 2 years, only a year. My first thought is, why is his tenure so short? So I'm probably going to keep going for right now, right? And his tenure so short across multiple roles. He hasn't had more than a year role since 2014, which was well before COVID. So I can't buy that excuse and I really can't sell it, right? So I could go back and look later, but I'm going to look at somewhere else first, right? So that's the first kind of skimming we're doing. Now, so as we're going through this, it also tells us high likelihood of interest. What this means is that candidates' behavior, including profile updates, so updating your profile, job applications. So I always tell people, you don't have to apply to a lot of jobs, but what you should do at least once or twice a week is go through the LinkedIn job board. And you know how it says apply, but it takes you to another website? Even if you're not going to apply, just hit that blue button because that clicks, it doesn't track you after you get out of LinkedIn. But if you hit those apply buttons, it's showing LinkedIn that you have a high likelihood of interest of finding a new job.
What
That's
happens if you're
that means.
saving it to the job tracker now?
It's not the same thing.
Nope. Okay. That's
You
not
wanna
going to
click-
influence this at all. Okay, thank you.
You want to click that apply button. That's it.
Okay.
You don't have to actually go and apply, but make sure there are roles that fall within
Right.
the realm of what you're seeking, because it all ties into the 360 algorithm of LinkedIn, understanding who you are and where they should place you. Okay.
Excellent. Excellent.
Is there a reason you didn't list location?
Because it would have made, I just know that if I listed location for the purposes of this example, it would have took me down to like 5 people.
Well, that might matter as sort of a differentiator when it comes to hybrid, remote, that kind of
Yes.
thing too.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So this specific role is like hybrid Atlanta, so they need to be in Atlanta. So if I did that, told you, see?
And that's where it's important that you have that too on your profile, that you've selected under your name, but they're trying to recommend do the area and not just the area that you're in. Like if
Yeah, even if you put
New York
it-
Metro. Go ahead.
Yeah, even if you put New York Metro and it's New York, it'll still catch you, but you should always put the metropolitan area.
Right. That's what I meant.
All right. So now, and then other indications, you should always follow and like the post of companies you would want to work at. Okay. So that's what the high likelihood of interest means. Engaged in the job market is pretty much the same thing, except the biggest difference is, even though you guys get a lot of spam and scam emails, you need to respond, even if it's just saying no thank you. When people email you, respond, because the algorithm is tracking how quickly you respond. And why is it doing that? Because for recruiters, we only get a certain number of emails that we can send per month. So for us, because we're the client, it is putting the people at the top of the list who are more engaged in the market and more likely to respond to our email. Okay.
How
I
about
just
those
told two
in
of the
the
ladies that
emails?
yesterday.
Yeah. How about those,
I-
the ones that are trying to get you into courses and stuff? Should we
Just
just
at least say
archive
no,
them?
thank you. All you have to do is just say no,
even on the
thank you.
courses and stuff like that.
Every
Okay.
email.
I told you guys yesterday, you gotta respond
Right.
to all of it.
I
'Cause
wasn't
it's a
sure
signal
about
the-
that one.
No, it's all of them.
Okay.
The
Okay, that's fine.
algorithm sees when you're not responding to DMs.
Yeah.
Okay.
I understand. Okay.
Now, listen, say if I like, so that's, Ross, did that answer your engaged in the job market?
It did. Yes. Thank you, Justin.
All right, so I'm gonna move a little quicker here so we can get to showing you how to fix this thing, okay, guys? So now, what happens if we're interested in your profile, we click it here, and it kind of brings up your profile in a short window here. And this is where we just can look through your experience. What I always tell people is that you want to sell the sizzle, not the steak. As a recruiter, if I feel like I'm looking at your entire resume and you're missing 1 or 2 things, I'm not going to message you. Right? So what you want to do is you want to put an overview and key achievements, right? So that you want to entice me enough to feel as though you can do the role, but I need to feel like I need to reach out to get the rest of the story. Okay. So we'll go through your profile like this. We'll see what we need to see. If we like you, that's when we come here, click this message, and that's when we send you these messages about, hey, I'm recruiting for this role. Let's do a phone screen. Okay.
Justin, do you care about our about section?
No, not at first. No, about people who care about, it's not at the recruiter level who cares about that. That's more so at the hiring manager level and peer people. Because I'm just scanning so quickly. If you can't at the functional level do what I need you to do, yeah. So I skip all of that and go straight. And a good number of my colleagues do as well. Now everybody is different. So some recruiters will look at your about section. I am not the end all be all. But from my experience, most people just, when we're sourcing, we're
Yes.
going to that experience section. Because
Okay.
nowadays we don't believe you anyway. Everybody uses AI. So you just do something in AI and you know, so it doesn't really matter.
You know,
Okay.
you raise a good point there, Justin, and maybe I'm skipping ahead in your share. So if I am, tell me and I'll wait. We are as candidates, we are asked to tailor our resumes to the job description and all that, which I think we all understand the why and the rationale, and we're being asked to uh, tailor our LinkedIn presences ethically and morally, correct to heighten our ability to be found. It seems to me that the repercussion of that is we all start sounding and looking the same. We all start looking like we've been AI'd because we have. What is a quick active counter to that phenomenon, Justin, that you can share with us to help us get back that distinction of us?
So
Kale, I'm gonna put a pin in that just right there because I think when
Okay.
we get to the second part of the discussion, when Justin starts to show the Job Father AI, we will cover that.
Okay.
And it's
All right.
and because the answer to that is going to divert way away from what we're doing in this segment.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
That's
so-
why I feared it might, but I did want to ask. Okay, I'm good with that.
all right. So in the interest of time, I do want to get over to the Job Father AI, but guys, I just really want you to see because what I'm about to show you, I would like to show people why I'm about to tell you your LinkedIn needs to look the way it needs to look, right? And why the tool I built helps you get there. Okay. So your
Okay.
headline needs to have, and these things are probably things you've already heard. Your headline needs to have your title, skill, and industries, industries and top tools that you're using, right? Your titles need to match and align. Your experience section needs to not be your entire resume, it needs to be an overview and some key achievements. All right. Before I go to Job Father AI, here's what I need you guys to stop doing. Okay. And it's going to sound harsh.
Okay.
Stop posting I'm open to work. Stop posting I'm looking for a job. Stop replying and commenting on people who keep saying that they need a job. Stop reposting people who are saying they need a job. Why? Because it is hurting you. What you're doing is putting yourself into the job seeker algorithm loop on LinkedIn. And the algorithm is going to put you in front of other people who are in the same situation that cannot help you. Decision makers are not looking, their feed is not full of, they're not looking at the people who need a job. They're looking at the industry insights that matter to them. So you need to start positioning yourself as a thought leader, never as a job seeker. Take down that green banner. The green banner is just like when the people from Comcast come knocking on your door and stand 5 feet back with their arms crossed waiting for you to answer. No. Decision makers are not, we get so many, I get 35 to 80 emails a day from people who need something, right? And
Mhm.
the biggest indicator is if I see a green banner, I'm probably not going to respond. As a recruiter, now as the job father, I will respond because that can be my client. But as a headhunter, I just don't have this, I don't have the bandwidth to read everybody's stuff. Now, how do you get around that? The Job Father AI can tell you, but I'll tell you real quick. You want to network, you need to like 1 or 2 of my posts, comment on some of my posts, repost something I'm sharing, compliment me in public so that you show up in my notifications feed. Make your name aware to me before you send me a connection request. So that when I get that connection request, I'm like, oh, this is such and such. They've been supportive. Let me go ahead and accept it. And never send a message with a connection request. Again, it's like the salesman. I know you want something if you're messaging me with that connection request. Send a blind connection request after you've already engaged. Nobody wants to talk to the cousin who only reaches out when they want something.
Yep. I got 2 questions here that I want to I think I want to make sure we cover before we get to the Job Father AI, Justin. So someone asked about gap filler jobs. We all have them. I have one, but they want to know your gap filler title needs to be the title you are seeking, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so it shouldn't be there. If you got a gap filler job on your LinkedIn, and a lot of us do, you need to have the title you are seeking, not some gap filler weird title that no one's looking for. Someone else asked about posting strategy. Can we talk about that just a little bit?
Yes, and the Job Father AI helps with that as well. Posting strategy. Your post always needs to be focused around your industry what you're looking to do, and your expertise, right? It doesn't have to always be just so. Let me back up. This is not Facebook, okay? This is not Instagram. I know it feels like that, and I hate to sound so insensitive, but as a hiring manager, as a recruiter, as somebody who works with, you wouldn't. Everybody has something go wrong with them at some point. So let me tell you, what one of my clients told me yesterday that made him decide between two final candidates. He said, "Look, Justin, I'm going to go with candidate A versus candidate B because candidate B had just been complaining on LinkedIn." He said, "Okay, I don't want that. If when things go wrong and he comes in the workplace, is that candidate going to come in and tell him his whole life story and not be able to function, or is this person going to be able to function and do the job that needs to be done?" Now, if there's a death in the family, of course you can take time off and all of that. But the real deal is, guys, this is work. This is business. So keep your emotions on the other platforms because hiring managers are looking at that. And if you can this is your 24/7 observation and interview. Okay. And I know that's harsh, guys, but this is feedback I'm actively getting from hiring managers and owners of companies that are costing people their job or costing people the opportunity to get the job. Right. So.
And Justin, what do you recommend that people, because one of the things, discussions that we have had here often is people who, I don't have anything to say on LinkedIn. I don't know what to write about on LinkedIn. And therefore they don't write anything on LinkedIn. So what do you suggest as a strategy? How often should you be posting and what should you be talking about? Because it's not your puppies, your dogs, or your ingrown toenails.
Now, that is true. You should always look, if you have a resume, do something I call the crystal method because she gave it to me. Do an audio walkthrough of your resume, right? Read get your phone voice recorder app, read each bullet point, and after each bullet point, talk about the work you did to make that come to fruition. What metrics did you use? What tools and systems did you use? Why was it helpful? What outcome did it have? What did you have to do on a day-to-day basis? It's about a 20 or 30-minute exercise, right? Take that, transcribe it, throw it into AI. You can throw it into AI too, I'm about to give you, and then it builds your stories for you. If you ever build anything, talk about case studies, and that's what I'm about to show you on the JobFather AI. It helps you build those stories. Anything you've done work-wise, you talk about it. You talk about pain points in your industry. You should be a master at what you do. So think about things that happen for accounts payable people. They hate month-end closing. Talk about month-end closing. Right? And sometimes you can take a break and make it comical. It doesn't have to be a whole dissertation. Sometimes it can be 2 sentences. But the more information, when we're using AI, the more information you give it, the more you won't sound like everybody else. AI is a tool to get you 80% of the way there. The other 20% is your expertise to make you stand out. So can we go over to the JobFather AI to?
We can.
All right. So what is the JobFather AI? It is a tool and system that I built, right, to help you with your entire job search. Okay. And that's app.thejobfather.org. Okay. So there's a lot you can do here. Okay. Really, what I want to focus on first is your LinkedIn. So you can build a master resume here. Okay. It's going to ask you for 2 to 3 job descriptions, and it's going to ask you for your current resume. And then it's going to ask you for something I'll have you fill out when you first sign in. It's called a deep dive form. That deep dive form gives the JobFather all the information you need because, again, AI only really works if you give it information. So you guys do have to do some work on the front end, right? So once you do that, it spits out your master resume. I'm not going to show you that here. You can reach out to me afterwards. But say you had your master resume, right? And I've already programmed the JobFather AI to build out your LinkedIn profile based upon the job you're seeking to land and what you put in your deep dive form to become searchable for the roles you're seeking to land based on everything I just showed you. So you would come to the workflow LinkedIn optimizer. Okay, I would attach my resume. I have my master resume already saved. I would say, okay, optimize my resume to make me appear in LinkedIn recruiter searches for the roles I'm targeting. Okay. Now, mind you, I already have my deep dive form. Okay. It's a deep dive form that I've already filled out. So it has a lot of information that you guys can't see. Just take my word for it. So when I hit submit, I have it programmed. It's going to just spit out exactly what you need for your LinkedIn profile. So it takes out the guessing for you. Okay. It even updates the title. So what you can do is download it into a Word document so it's easier to read. All right, and what it's going to do is spit out a document like this. All you have to do is go to your LinkedIn profile and copy and paste everything here to the appropriate section. So this will be my headline. This will be my about section, right? And this will be my experience section. You see how I have an overview, key responsibility, and achievements. That's it. Okay, and it even updates my titles accordingly. So this is how you don't have to spend too much time. The JobFather AI did it already. Based upon everything I've already showed you, I've built that knowledge into here, into the system, and it spits it out based upon the information you've given it. Okay. So that's the easy part of updating and optimizing your LinkedIn profile. Now, what about if you have a hard time thinking about what you should talk about on LinkedIn? All right. You have something called the weekly job search strategy. Now, I could just come here and say, give me my first weekly job search strategy. What I've done is I've built my own coaching skills in here. Right now, each strategy is different based upon the deep dive form you put in here, okay? So what it's going to do, and each week it builds upon the next according to the JobFather system. Now, I'm not going to go through all of that. I'm doing this for a reason so I can show you how to use it to help you with LinkedIn, okay? So it's doing all of these things here. Okay, again, you can download everything in Word so you don't have to worry about reading it in the system. All right, and it gives you a strategy, right? Tells you what you're going to be doing, what companies to target, titles on those companies to target that you should reach out to. It tells you the JobFather method of how to network, the same thing I told you about messaging, connecting with them first without a message and so forth and so forth. It even gives you a daily action plan of your job search, okay? It tells you what you need to do, and it's usually about 40 minutes to an hour, so you're not spending 8 hours a day on your job search. Now, for instance, if it tells you, okay, it tells you what to post, right? So it says, okay, share a case study snippet, how I saved $1.7 million. And this is taking information from my resume. So going back to Crystal's question, how do you know what to post? You already have it. It's in your resume, right? So what the JobFather is doing is telling me to post a case study about how I saved this amount of money. So I'm going to copy this, and it's a case study. So on the JobFather AI, you can come here to LinkedIn Content Studio. You can choose what type of post you want. I'm going to do industry insight because that's the same thing as a case study. And I'm going to do paste the topic that the JobFather gave me, okay? You choose your target audience. I want to talk to functional leaders and executives. I like to be direct and bold. Some people like to be other things. So, but you can choose that. You hit generate post. Now, mind you, it has my deep dive form in here, okay? It also allows you to put other writing samples, and the more you give it, the more it sounds like you. So it'll spit out the post. I like to save it to library, go to content library, hit edit, and then this is the way it should show up on LinkedIn, okay? And in here, you can read it and make changes to it to make it sound like yourself. Always make changes to it because it's still AI, but it's going to get you 80% of the way there, all right? So you copy this and you take it and post it on LinkedIn, and that's your start. And each week you will see it start to build and build and build upon itself. So this is how you make sure you stay focused and in alignment. And when you save these weekly reports, it makes sure that it doesn't give you the same topic twice because it's building your thought leadership. Okay. And really, you have LinkedIn. So at LinkedIn networking, salary negotiation, it even does interview prep and deep dive market analysis, okay? And it helps you with the networking, as I stated. And everything else, that's what the AI Command Center is for. And it is purely built off the JobFather AI. So how do you make sure you don't look like everybody else in the AI world? Is by giving it the information when you first sign up that JobFather gives you. Also, because this is not just ChatGPT or Claude, it's not pulling from the same thing everybody else gets. And the resume format that I showed you is a resume format I created. And I could tell you, maybe every once in a while I may come across a format like that. And I think that's 3% of the time. Versus as a recruiter myself, I always get 5 or 6 resumes that are exactly the same. The fact that when the resumes I create, it separates the bullet points into 3 different categories that align with the roles you're seeking so that it's different all across the board. I'll stop there because I know I'm over time. Any questions? Crystal, where would you like me to go there?
Well, I was going to say, we've still got 32 people still online, and usually this is our happy hour, and Kale and I have taken over happy hour, and it's been all about AI and how to best use AI in your job search. So if folks don't mind, we can continue into happy hour and continue, because it seems like we still have people who are interested and engaged. And this
Yes.
is still on topic with AI.